Good morning. I'm Katy Haberman. I'm a longtime member of this Unitarian Fellowship. And I'd like to talk to you today about a topic called passages. We'll start with a story for all ages, which I always love to write because it's kind of an encapsulation of the concept that's in my mind that I want to talk to you about. This story is called Timothy's Terrible Tunnel. Farah was already 6 and Timothy was only 4 when Uncle Eddie sent the box at Christmas. The tree was all decorated and full of lights and so very beautiful when a delivery man rang the bell and left the box on the front step. It was a large box, and it had a funny little smile on the side that reminded Timmy of Uncle Eddie. Uncle Eddie was always playing tricks on people and laughing at them if they didn't get his jokes. Timothy wasn't at all sure that Uncle Eddie was his friend, but Farah always laughed and giggled at Uncle Eddie, and she told Timothy that he just had to laugh and go with Uncle Eddie's jokes, even if he didn't really understand them. Timmy was nervous that the box with the smile on it was one of Uncle Eddie's jokes, and he really wished that his mom didn't put it underneath the beautiful tree so that it blocked all the lights. Christmas was only a few days away, and Farah and Timmy were so full of excitement that it seemed as if they would explode. Waiting was the hardest thing to do. Timothy almost forgot the scary box. Then finally, Christmas morning came. Farah and Timmy ran to the living room and saw a mountain of presents all wrapped in Christmas paper and the box with the smile. They started opening some of the smaller boxes, the ones from Grandma and Aunt Val. They opened the ones from Santa Claus next, and Timmy was amazed and pleased to find a big truck and a set of Legos. Then Farah pulled out the big box with the smile. Timmy stood back a little bit, but Farah said, "Timmy, don't be a chicken." And so he helped to open up the cardboard flaps. Suddenly, a terrible, horrible red snake with a big mouth. Timmy shrieked and ran into his bedroom, and he hid behind the bed. Farah called, "Timmy, come out. It's only a tunnel. Come on, it's fun." But Timmy was sure that Uncle Eddie had sent a snake that would swallow him alive. Finally, Daddy took the thing out in the yard, and Timmy came out of his room. He cautiously looked out the window at the thing and saw Farah was crawling into the end of it. Tears came to his eyes because he thought that maybe his sister was gone forever. But then he saw her come out the other end. Oh, okay. So maybe it wasn't lethal. He saw that all of her arms and legs seemed to be intact. Okay, so maybe it wasn't as dangerous as he thought. Farah was laughing. She ran around and crawled back into the tunnel. Seemed to be having fun. Maybe he could go out there and just take a closer look. By noon, both Timmy and Farah were crawling through the tunnel, forward and backward. They rolled and they tumbled through the tunnel. They swam on their stomachs through the tunnel. They scooched on their backs through the tunnel, and they shrieked with laughter. The tunnel was the best toy that was under the tree. Farah told Timmy, the tunnels were like that. Sometimes they're scary at first, but once you figure them out, they're lots of fun. They wrote a letter to Uncle Eddie with lots of pictures to thank him for the great gift. Their mother helped, and they didn't even mention how scary it was at first. Passages. What are passages? It could be a quote from a good book or from the Bible. Sometimes it is an underground tunnel to a long-lost Pharaoh's tomb, maybe. How about a long hallway with lots of doors leading off from it? That could be. Sometimes a passage is the long and arduous trip from one place to another, such as when our ancestors undertook to come to this land. It could also be a time in which we are given choices. Should I stay or should I go? Will he be the right one or will she? How about, should I invest my time and money or should I run away? Should I get involved or just let somebody else do it? All these are passages requiring us to make a decision. Each moment of our lives is a potential passage. We're not the same from one moment to the next. We grow older. We grow wiser, hopefully. We gain weight or we lose it. And we gain and lose people in our lives. Tomorrow is not a given, so we must deal wisely with today. The decisions we make from one moment to the next determine where each passage will take us. Sometimes passages are scary, like Timothy's terrible tunnel. We hesitate to step into them. We cannot know what the result of our actions will be. When we embark upon a new endeavor, we cannot know for sure if it will succeed or fail. When we open ourselves to a new friendship, we cannot know if this person will be a joy or a pain in the neck. If we err on the side of caution and never chance the passage, if we hide behind our bed in the bedroom, we surely won't know. Sometimes the passages are blocked by a big letter I. I can't, or I don't want to, or even I refuse to go there. We must somehow get around that big I to start through a new passage. When we are born, we pass from a relatively secure place into a world which might seem chaotic to a new infant. So many sights, so many sounds, so many people. Yet to live, we must pass out into the big, scary world. When we leave the security of our mother's arms and our own little crib and start to crawl around and then toddle, we encounter dangers. The occasional fall, the almost certain bump on the head, the scolding for being where we shouldn't be may seem tragic to a small child, but it is a scary passage that we all manage to get through. And then we get cocky. We are invulnerable. We dash headlong from childhood to the teenage years. There's no tunnel too scary for us now. Our parents and some of our friends caution us to be careful, to stay safe, but we plunge into life. Off to college we go, never looking back. Could we possibly have been that timid little child? No way. We're made out of cast iron. Well, mostly. Most of the time. When the big decisions must be made, and we still hesitate to dive into that passage where we cannot really see the end of the tunnel. Passages are risky. Imagine the risk we take in that passage called marriage. Yet, for those who never make the commitment, it's a lonesome old world. Sometimes we are not given the choice. Our job ends, our mate leaves us or passes away, our children move far away from us, and we have to build a new framework for our lives. That may be the scariest passage of all. Starting over and rebuilding, always frightening. But even more scary is just being frozen in time and not moving forward while the rest of the world goes on. My sister Carol lost her husband of 50-plus years to a sudden heart attack last fall. At first, she felt numb, but then, with the help of family and friends, she has launched herself into this new passage. She is moving from her older home in Las Vegas to a new home near us in Texas, where she will be close to her family and have a brand new start. What courage! It is true, of course, that sometimes we encounter a situation where there is no one right answer. People say, damned if I do and damned if I don't. We have to choose which is the lesser of the evils, or we could say, which is the better choice. When we have chosen our path, we must do our very best. I always say, if you're doing the best you can, then that's the best you can do. Abraham Lincoln is quoted as saying, I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep on doing so until the end. If the end brings me out all right, what is said against me won't amount to anything. If the end brings me out wrong, 10 angels swearing I was right would make no difference. This brings to my mind another point, and this is that our decisions, our passages, do not take place in a void. Our actions and decisions affect other people. Their decisions and their passages can be affected by our own. John Donne's famous poem, No Man is an Island, comes to my mind. No man is an island, entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if the manner of a friend or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sin to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. We cannot pretend that our decisions and passages are our own creation or that they affect only ourselves. Like waves from a stone thrown into the water in the story of the butterfly who's stamped by Rudyard Kipling, they have a ripple effect. Thich Nhat Hanh, who has written books about mindfulness and communication, has this to tell us: every human and every animal communicates. We typically think of communication as words when we speak or write, but our body language, our facial expressions, our tone of voice, our physical actions, and even our thoughts are ways of communicating. If I decide My day is all wrong, a really rotten, bad, terrible day, and I scowl at people and make mean comments. I am perhaps screwing up their perfectly fine day. Until they take pity on me, choose compassion over anger, and pull us both out of a dark tunnel by saying, "Katy, what in the world is the matter? You seem so unhappy. Can I help?" Their choice of reaction would help me choose a different, maybe happier passage. And then we face that last passage. We say that someone has passed away because we hate to say he died. That seems so very final. We do not know and cannot know what happens at that passageway until we ourselves are the one passing. Sometimes someone has a near-death experience and they return and talk about it in glowing terms. But is that real or just the figment of their imagination? I'm forced to say, does it really matter? Whatever will be at the end of the final passage. We cannot know, nor can we control it. What we believe as individuals does not have any effect on the outcome, whether we think that we will somehow be face to face with God, or whether we think that there is nothing at the end of that passageway. What really matters to us here and now is the passages we face today and tomorrow. How we act and react is what determines our happiness and our ability to help others. We have some big challenges in our lives, and we have some big opportunities. It is my hope, like Abraham Lincoln, that I will do the very best I can. What passages do you face in the future? Will you try to do the very best you can? If you do, then you will have no regrets when you reach the final passage. Amen. Namaste.